Defenders, huh? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jesse. You're watching JLS Comics, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Netflix Season 1, The Defenders. So a few people have asked me what I thought of it. I had just seen it before I came on this trip. As you can see, the background is a little bit different than a lot different, completely different than what I normally have. I'm on a trip here in Southern California, sunny Southern California, on the day of the eclipse, and I have a wonderful view of the roof of the hotel. Nothing there to see, folks, so I don't know if you can see a little bit of glare or flare from the light, but it's the hotel roof. Anyhow, let's jump into this. We're going to be doing spoiler-free Defenders reviews. This will be fairly quick. If you want a more deeper dive into the Defenders, what I thought of it, what the panel thought of it, and by panel I mean Comic Conversation Podcast, later in the week we're going to be talking spoiler-filled conversation around that. So expect that later in the week on this channel. The date is still to be determined. And also Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you're interested in Star Trek Discovery, we're going to be talking about the upcoming show releasing in September on CBS. A lot of fun there. A lot of fun. Comic Frontline, Media Madness will be where that is at. Again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to do Defenders here, again, spoiler-free. I'm going to give you two ratings. One's going to be traditional 5-point scale. I'll tell you what I thought of it on that scale, and also a 10-point scale, which is something that we like to do in the comic book world, from 1, or actually 0.5 all the way up to 10, or depending on the grading company, 11, 12. Inside joke there. So let's just jump into it right away. Season 1, Daredevil, Netflix. It was 8 episodes, perfect length, broadcast through Netflix, as Netflix typically does. Puts them all out all at once, which is fantastic because you can binge watch it, and that is exactly what I did. The show picks up right where the individual shows left off, and by individual shows I mean Daredevil Season 1, Season 2, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones all had individual seasons, and then they all came together in this show to form a team, which was the Defenders. And it took a couple episodes, to be honest with you, to really feel like a team show. It just kind of like, honestly, episode 1, I took a quick nap through episode 2. It was a little bit slow, and it wasn't until we got into, and I contemplated skipping episode 3 and jumping to 4. I didn't, but that should tell you something, that I had that thought at least, right? It wasn't until they finally came together in the Midland building that it really felt like, okay, this is a team show. This is the culmination of all of these seasons. It's sort of like when they did Thor, Captain America, all the Iron Man movies, and then they finally all came together in the Avengers. It was like, yes, we finally get to see them all together. It didn't quite have that same feeling, but at the same time, it was still really cool to see all these characters finally sort of interact with each other. Some of the things that I liked about it, I really liked, I'm going to touch on this first, the soundtrack was really cool. I definitely liked the soundtrack. A couple of my favorite characters, I really like Colleen Wing, and I've liked her since she was first introduced in Iron Fist. I think she's a really fantastic character. A lot of room to grow in this universe. Another one that I liked was Misty Knight. She is part of law enforcement. She's one of the ones that kind of brings some realism to the vigilantism that the Defenders are doing. I really like her character. I like the balance that she brings to it. I like the actress quite a bit as well, and there is some lead up there in terms of her, and it's sort of, this season sets up some backstory regarding her arm. And again, this is spoiler free, so that's all I can say on that. Another thing that I liked was Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is a very ornery, very unpleasant, very blunt with her delivery and what she says and her thoughts. and it comes across. There's some great comedic moments with her. I like her quite a bit. The length, again, 8 episodes, was perfect. Some of the things that I had an issue with some of the solo episodes, the solo seasons for the characters, was that they kind of dragged out too long, and that there were some filler episodes there that kind of, quite frankly, bored me. So this condensed that. It didn't have those, and I felt like it was a perfect length for it. It was a good choice. And again, seeing them all together was really cool. One of the things I liked, there was some comedic moments again, with Jessica Jones, but also with Daredevil. Some jokes around the horns and everything. But even though those first couple episodes were a little bit slow, they did a good job about building or continuing the story, building upon the story from where the season ended, and kind of making it make sense about why they came together. The disparate stories sort of intertwined there. Positive, but also a negative that I'm going to touch on in a second. Let's break down the characters. I really liked Daredevil. I've always liked Daredevil. Daredevil Season 1 and Season 2 are at the top of my list in terms of hierarchy of my favorites in the Netflix universe. He's sort of the weight of the team, and I kind of feel like... No, I don't feel like he is the lead of the Defenders in this universe. He really does kind of carry the team. I like Luke Cage as well. He's the strong guy of the team. Like, he's powerful, he's bulletproof, he's the muscle guy. But he has a sense of honor to him. And really, at the end of the day, all he wants to do is help people. Whether it's a child, whether it's a mother in need, whether it's, a whole community in Harlem. He just wants to help. He's that strong guy, bulletproof, but with a heart of gold. Iron Fist, I have some things I could say about Iron Fist, and I will. But I do like that Iron Fist doesn't use some of the tropes that they use in the Iron Fist Season 1. What they do instead is take his resources, his company, his power, his financial power, his economic power, and use that to their advantage. It's the Rand Corporation. He uses those resources to kind of drive forward the investigation, so to speak. And I love Jessica Jones in this. She has always been one of my favorites. I really like her. She's a character who is hard. She's very, she's walled off and closed. She's part of herself, but she's damaged. She's very vulnerable. But that comes across, like I said, with that unpleasantness and bluntness. It comes across so funny. It is, to me, a high point of the show. I like this character a lot. I really like Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. I think it is on point. It is great. There is also Karen, played by Deborah Ann Woll. I really, really like her. I loved her in True Blood. We also have Foggy Nelson. I kind of felt like they were thrown in there just for the sake of being in there. They kind of felt unnecessary, kind of building out the plot a little bit more than it needed to. But I think that they were maybe setting up some things more in the future. And again, it's something that maybe I could touch on, is that this Season 1 sets up a really amazing Frank Miller Daredevil story. I'm not going to say it here. Stay tuned for the Comic Conversation show where I'll tell you what that is, but it's fantastic, let me tell you. And again, the person at the very, very end, the last episode, like the last few minutes, they say a name, and it's like, oh my god, this has got to be that. It really does. And if they go in that direction, I'm on board 100%, man. That is 100% where I think this should go. Some things that I think could be improved, is the way I'll say it, is the villain. The villain in this is the Hand. And I like that, I guess with the individual shows, the solo shows, the Hand was the overarching villain for those. So to kind of bring those all together in this as the villain as well kind of makes sense. But it kind of suffers the Marvel Studios villain curse, where it's just an underwhelming villain. It's not. There's just something lacking there. I don't know what it is, but it needs something a little bit more. Iron Fist, I think, was a little bit weak, I guess. Is the way I would say it. He was improving. He's improved since his first season, slightly, but he's still kind of a weak point for me. Night Nurse, Rosario Dawson, excuse me. She's great when she's patching up heroes in the middle of the night, but I don't think that she should be running around town with the heroes as a sidekick. I don't think that was something that should have happened for this. I mean, I kind of get why she needed to be there for a couple of the scenes, but it was a little bit like, okay, it felt forced to me. I didn't feel the chemistry for the team a whole lot, other than a couple points, such as the budding friendship with Luke and Danny. I know that they're Power Man and Iron Fist. They're maybe going in that direction. Fantastic story, fantastic arcs and tropes there, if they do go in that direction. So kudos to them if that is their direction with that, or their purpose for including some of those moments. But overall, with the whole team, I didn't feel like there was a whole lot, in terms of chemistry there. Some of the fight scenes were amazing. Again, with Iron Fist, a lot of work to be done there. But fight scenes, especially in a couple of the last ones, I didn't feel like they were a whole lot of. Yeah, some of them were kind of dark. Let's just say that. Some of them were kind of dark. Dim is the word I'll use. Going back to the villains with the hand, one of them was Sigourney Weaver. Alexandra was her character. I did like her. I thought she had a, sort of sympathetic backstory. She was somebody that you could kind of, like, she was the villain, but you kind of felt a little bit sympathetic for her. And one of the things that she said was, for somebody in a war, both sides have to kind of feel like they are in the right. And you kind of get that sense from her. She is kind of going on in age. No offense to Sigourney if for whatever reason she watches this. I doubt it. But they did a great job of making her not needing that physicality, but still feeling imposing and forceful just in her affect and just in her presence. I thought that was amazingly well done. However, her ending was slightly anticlimactic for me, and it brought it back to what I said about the villains at the hand and just kind of feeling underwhelming for me. I really hope that they're done with the hand as a story, as a villain story arc going forward. So that's something that I really hope there. So that's basically what I thought about it. We're getting up to about 13 minutes here. So what did I think about it? Well, basically there were a lot of fun moments, a lot of my favorite characters in here, some things that I definitely could have improved. Overall, I kind of felt uninspired by it. I went through it basically all at once with a couple breaks. Lots and lots of fun moments, some great choreography, great improvement as well. I'm hoping for more from it. So my ratings for it, 2 ratings, remember. First rating is the 5-point scale, and I give it 3.25 out of 5. And out of my 10-point scale, I'll give it an 8.0 out of 10. So there you go. Let me know your comments down below. Let me know what you think, what you thought of it, what you liked, what you didn't like, and all that good stuff. And join us later in the week when we do the deeper dive into this show, when we do all the spoilers, all the stuff that I really want to talk about here, but I can't because I'm respecting you guys. That's it. This is Jesse here, JLS Comics, and this is a Defenders TV show review. Let's call it. I don't know what to call it. Let's call it a review show. I don't know. Anyways, see you guys soon.